Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Tokyo Ghoul Re episodes 19 and 20. When we last left off, the clowns attacked Tokyo, and they kind of laid waste to people. They used humans as shields. Sorry, moving my camera up right there. And they just kind of blew people up for a little while, and the CCG put him down. Of course, this is all part of Furuta's scheming that we'll eventually find out about, I think. If the anime did not cut out Furuta's goals. But yeah. Anyway, we pick up right where episode 17 left off. With Akira leaving her little scene with Hinami. Because this actually came after the clown siege in the manga, as I recall. Because if I recall correctly, in the manga, Goat gets some medicine for Akira during the clown siege. And so she was not awake before the clown siege. But anyway, as she's going up, as she's leaving, Amon finds her, and Akira's like, what's the point of anything? My entire life is based around hating ghouls, and if I can't do that, nothing matters. And, Amon's like, that matters. Your feelings of nothing mattering matters. And like, I love it when people are like, stop being so emo. You know, emo is not allowed moments, I love. They're always great. And this is a fun one between Amon and Akira. It is all we get from them, these 2 weeks. So that's a bit of a bummer. But you know what? That's fine, whatever. There's more than enough going on that, like, I don't think Pierrot could juggle Amon and Akira with the rest of them. Meanwhile, we have the plot going on, as a bunch of attacks from the Ogai on ghouls prompts Kaneki to lead the ghouls to the 24th Ward, which is underneath Tokyo. And so the anime's pacing makes the decision to go underground seem a little sudden, you know? Like, in the manga, there were, like, several incidents, as I recall, of Ogai, you know, attacking, ghouls, before finally Goat's like, there's nowhere else we can run, let's head underground. We do see a map that seems to have, like, Ogai attacks across Tokyo, so it's alleviated somewhat, but it does seem really, like, sudden. Yeah. Also something else I wanted to say about that. But, oh, right, I remember now. This is not as much a problem in the anime, but, like, the manga very much implies that Furuta is only the head of the CCG in Tokyo, and that, because there's a lot of, like, let's purge the ghouls from Tokyo, and so I never quite understood why they went underground instead of outside Tokyo, and therefore outside Furuta's jurisdiction. Like, Furuta is only the head of the CCG inside Tokyo, so why don't they just leave Tokyo? I get that no one in this series ever figures to just leave the city, but, like, come on, y'all. But anyway, then we have the big moment, or the beginning of the leading up to the big moment, episode 19, the virgin question, where Toka, out of the blue, is like, Kaneki, are you a virgin? And Kaneki, like, spits out his coffee. And I don't think that question was such a non sequitur in the manga, right? There was a bit of a lead up to it, wasn't it? Wasn't there? I mean, like, I don't know why I'm complaining, because I'm a huge TouKen shipper, and I do not mind, but, like, I don't know, it was just really, really sudden. But while they're talking about this, who should show up but Mutsuki? And I've given the anime a fair bit of crap in the first half of this season for just not using Mutsuki at all. I completely forgot about this for episode 18, but Mutsuki plays a big role in the Clown Siege that was completely, like, cut. And, you know, we got none of his backstory, really. And so, you know, as much as I'm glad that the anime is using Mutsuki, with just about all of his backstory gone, and him not doing anything in the Clown Siege, Mutsuki's just even more confusing than he was in the manga. I will say, I do appreciate the anime's choice of removing Shinsanpei, just because Shinsanpei is much too vague of a character for this adaptation. Also, Shinsanpei is one of the worst parts of the manga, so I'm more than happy he's not around. On a more positive note, I love how bonkers the Ogai are. You know, they fly in from a rooftop on motorcycles. Like, holy fuck, they're funny. God, that scene is so good. But yeah, other than that, Mutsuki's on his yandere shit that is not quite as I don't think it was really telegraphed or really developed to that point at all in the anime. Whereas in the manga, we see Mutsuki slowly get crazier and crazier after their time with Torso in the cave. After his time with Torso in the cave, I mean. So yeah, that's still Mutsuki's yandere doesn't quite work in the anime. Though onto things that do work, that short little Suzuya and Urie scene is a real nice reminder that like the solution to peace in Tokyo is not as simple as get rid of the ghouls or get rid of the humans. You know, there's a lot more underlying shit at play. You can't just kill everyone. But yeah. Anyway, on to the highlight of these two episodes. And I never thought I'd say this after this scene in the manga. The TouKen sex scene. Like in the manga, if you were not interacting with any Tokyo Ghoul fans at all when this scene happened in the manga, the TouKen sex scene is an entire chapter in the manga. And it was really the first moment that I was really glad I was not caught up when that scene happened, because like I would not have been pleased to wait a week and it's just Kaneki and Toka having sex for 20 pages. But here, it's so much better. It's leagues ahead of the manga. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, you know, it's only a couple minutes. The music is great, the singer really isn't that great though, and their English is not great at all. And it really, like, the flashbacks are, you know, kind of cliche and all, but it really does capture the, like, emotional resonance between these two traumatized, practically still kids. I think Toku's like 20 and Kaneki's maybe 21 or 22. They're not, like, they're my age. I'm 20. They're my age. These kids are my age. They've been through some shit. So yeah, they're fucked up, but, like, they're there for each other. And God, I love TouKen so much. I love TouKen so much. Hide Kane shippers don't hate me, but, like, I love them so much. And then Nishiki discovers Toka chowing down on human food. Sometime later, they've already moved underground at this point. And Nishiki deduces that Toka's pregnant and most likely with Kaneki's child. And then he goes and accidentally spills the beans to Kaneki, and just like that, Kaneki's world has changed. He finally has someone not finally, but, like, there's something different about having your own child to protect than, like, like, regular people you care about a whole lot. So yeah, just like that, Kaneki is now a father-to-be. Does not stop him from making some bad decisions, later on. But, you know. Also, maybe this is just the anime's pacing. Maybe this didn't make more sense in the manga. It's been a while. But in the anime, it feels like it's been, like, at most a few days since the TouKen sex scene. So, like, how does Toka know she's pregnant so fast? You know, I'm no expert on pregnancy, of course. But, like, it normally takes a few weeks, doesn't it? Like, a month or so to know you're pregnant. Like, maybe she was craving human food. Though I don't know how she would know she's craving human food, because she did not know what human food tastes like. Also, the manga implied that eating the human food was just a way to, like, save the baby and give the baby the nourishments that it needs, and nothing more. So I don't know how Toka knows, but you know what? The rest of the episode works so well, I'm gonna ignore that. And then we head to the, Psycho and the CCG, and her thoughts for the CCG. And it feels like, maybe, again, I read through the manga really fast, so a lot of the, like, middle stuff, a lot of this stuff kind of got, like, blurred together. But her whole, like, declaration of disgust against the CCG and the declaration that she'll be a terrorist against the CCG feels like it should have been something we've seen throughout the past, but, like, at least this season. You know, and we've gotten, I feel like we've gotten a little bit of Psycho, being kind of ill at ease with the whole CCG situation. But I feel like we should have been seeing it a bit more for, like, the past, at least last episode with the Clown Siege. If not, you know, actually, we should have seen it during the Rushima op with Amon. We should have seen, I feel like there was a little bit there, but it should have been something we continued to see brewing within her, I feel like. But I don't want to end on a sour note, because I did really love this episode. I do like the thematic pairing of Toka and Kaneki with Kuroiwa and Yoriko, because they're both, you know, having, ups and downs of a relationship. They both get married, they both kind of, like, formalize their union, and if we lean into the beginning of episode 20, both of their relationships also go through some rough patches, with Yoriko being arrested on, charges of knowing Toka was a ghoul, which he did not, and Mutsuki and the Ogai, and Suzuya Squad, I might add, showing up to, invade the wedding party for Kaneki and Toka. And I feel like it's just an effective way, the pairing of these two couples is an effective way to kind of, like, ground the story and remind us that, like, despite all this stuff about, like, the fate of the races, this is really a story about people. Ghoul at its best is a character story before it's, you know, an action one. And it's why the character beats have always landed better for me than the action ones. At its best, you know, it was, like, merging, action and character beats, like during, like, Route A and stuff. But this season is just not as good as that. That goes without saying with all of its pacing issues. But yeah, then we have Rize's in a giant egg with Furuta, whatever. That's kind of vague. And Ayato arrives in a mysterious underground city, which hopefully the anime won't cut too much of. The manga does not go into detail about this part at all. So I imagine the anime is going to be even worse on that regard, but whatever. That's really it for 19. So let's jump right on into 20. Goodbye, happiness. Hello, Ogai. The Ogai show up, crash the wedding. And there's really not a whole lot to say about that bit, but everything with Kaneki there as a whole. I'll get to that at the very end, because the ending of this episode is great. But most of what I want, there's a little bit, the Take and Ui scene, where Ui questions why, Arima entrusted Take with the mission to, like, side with Kaneki. I feel like that would have worked better if the anime had spent more time with Take and Ui. We spent a little bit of time with Ui last season, but never really in relationship to Take. So it's kind of an odd choice. And honestly, Take, so okay, bit of a rant here. In season 2, if you'll recall, when Irimi fought, Hachikawa, the other person with Hachikawa was Take. Take is the one who Irimi remarks famously as having a villager number 2 sort of face. So, like, in season 2, Take was this symbol of, like, not needing to know everything about the characters in order to care about them. You know, that was something that Morita's Ghoul did really well. Like Morita realized he was adapting a 144 chapter manga into 24 episodes, and it almost dared you, instead of, like, mining deep into their backstories for, like, pathos, it was like, this person is a person, and dared you not to give a shit. And, like, you couldn't not give a shit, because Morita was so fucking good at this. And it's weird here, you know, comparing these two moments, that now Take is kind of the symbol of, like, not giving your characters enough time, enough development to, like, care about their conflicts. But yeah, that's really until we get to the big moment that I will cover at the very end, because it's the very end kind of moment, and it ties in with the other storyline in a cool way. Not really a cool way, but it ties into it. I'm going to spend most of the rest of this video talking about Urie, Kuroiwa, and the clowns, which are mostly really good. Oh, before I do that, one more thing. We see the O-Guy's hair as their, like, Rize Kagane activates, change from black to white. And, you know, I sure am glad we know that Kanaki's magic hair changing comes from his Rize Kakuho. Yeah. That's whatever. Anyway, on to the cool stuff. So I did say a few minutes ago in my 19 part of the review, Psycho's rejection of CCG should have been, like, better telegraphed, I feel like. And that is true. But at least we do get Urie taking an immediate action against Furuta as a result of it. You know, at the end of 19, Psycho was like, why are we still doing this? You know, the CCG is so fucked up. And Urie is like, yeah, you're right. And he, like, leaves to go confront Furuta. And luckily, Badass of the Year, Iwao Kuroiwa shows up to, like, save his sorry ass. You know, he fucking, like, after the clowns show up and the fight starts, Kuroiwa, like, walks over to, like, the CCG, emblem and picks up a regular non-Queen K sword and does pretty fucking well against them. Holy fuck. He loses his hand fighting with a regular sword, and, like, he is not a foe to be reckoned with. Jesus Christ, he's good. And yeah, you know, they do pretty good damage. They seemingly kill Shikurai and Roma in short order. But then they find out to kill neither of them yet. Roma will die later on without her backstory, which is fine. Roma's backstory is not that important. But I do want a quick little joke. Roma's Kakuja, it looks like she's going straight up, like, Super Saiyan. When, like, we see, like, the beams of energy and she's, like, yelling. And then the weird monster pops up and it's not Super Saiyan anymore, but whatever. So yeah. After that, they drive Shikurai away. Urie is seemingly killed by Roma, but then kills Roma himself. And Kuroiwa is really fucking injured. That's all well and good, but what I really want to talk about is that last scene before Kuroiwa gets a sword to the neck. And that scene is phenomenal. It's a shining example of how much Urie has grown since his introduction. You know, at the start, he hated everyone, specifically Kuroiwa, specifically for what Urie saw as Kuroiwa's hand in his father's death. And so when Kuroiwa's like, I'm sorry, it's my fault your dad died, and Urie's like, no, it wasn't. Oh, Urie has developed so much, and, like, we've seen, it's not like he's like, all of a sudden Urie, like, loves Kuroiwa now, and it came out of nowhere. You know, we've seen this. We've seen Urie develop throughout the series, from, you know, hating everyone to, like, caring for the Quinxes but never really admitting it, and then, like, now he's just a good guy. Like, well done. Sure, this is not really the work of season 4. It's a lot of the work put into Urie last season. But, like, this is some good shit. This is some phenomenal shit. This scene right there was so good. And then Hide. Hide pops up. You know, real talk, I wish they had lingered on that shot of Hide showing the board so that we could really, we see Hide for, like, a split second. And then we move on. And I feel like we should have had a bit more of a, like, what the fuck moment, or, like, just a fair bit longer shot of Hide to really, like, deal with the fact that, like, Hide's alive. And if you anime only fans are wondering, how the fuck is Hide alive? Well, it's time for another round of important manga stuff, that is different from the anime. So in the anime, at the end of Route A, Hide decisively dies. He succumbs to his wounds, not his wombs, his wounds. Kaneki brings him to the CCG lines in a burial shroud. He's dead as a doornail dead, yada yada yada. In the manga, however, it is much more ambiguous. Hide finds Kaneki in the sewers below on Teiku right before his fight with Arima, while Kaneki is in his Kakuja state. The beginning of the scene plays out just like the anime. Hide reveals that he always knew Kaneki was a ghoul, but then, and this is the important part, Kaneki blacks out. And when he comes to, he finds Hide missing and blood around his mouth, with the implication being, but this was never confirmed, that Kaneki ate Hide. And then this is when we find out that Kaneki did not eat Hide. He's been the scarecrow, Then we'll find out just the exact amount of eating that Kaneki got done on Hide at a later time. Y'all will see, I imagine. And yeah, that's really all we get of that plot line till the very end. Before we get there, we have to discuss the end of the 24th Ward sequence, which is phenomenal. You know, every scene where Kaneki has to confront his past selves is always good. It's been good from, you know, episode 12 of the original series, when he confronts the vision of Rize in his mind. I guess it's a past self, if you think about it. But like, that's not even the focus here, and it's still great. You know, the music as Kaneki attacks the Ogai, his repeated calling of Toka's name, makes this really intense scene, and then the dragon is born, and there's some great shit, you know, the dragon spreads throughout Tokyo. I don't think we're gonna get anything on the level of that silent chapter in the manga when the dragon was born, but this is some great shit. And we have 4 episodes for the Dragon War, which is it's way less than the Dragon War should have, all things considered. But it's about as good as I could ever imagine getting from this adaptation. So, like, hey, that's a plus from me. That's where we end, with Kaneki as a dragon. Furuta is still alive, despite taking a bullet to the head. Hide is alive. Kuroiwa has a sword in his neck and is pretty dead. And yeah. So, all in all, these 2 episodes really, really bolster my hopes in this adaptation going forward. You know, I made a lot of comments in the first half of the season, especially those first, like, 4 episodes or so. This season just could not catch a break. And a lot of that is Sui Yoshida's fault. The Rushima op is one of the more hectic parts of the story, and it's not something this adaptation did well at all. But like these episodes also, unlike last night's Boruto episodes that really like function as a cohesive unit, these 2 do not. There's a like connectivity between them, as like the last episode is directly preceding this episode, or episode 20, I mean. But like they're so different. 19 is almost completely devoid of action, and it's better for it, I will say. With the characters just like talking and having good character beats, and 20 is just an action extravaganza. With, you know, the Ogai fight is it's whatever, you know. Both episodes are flawed, I admit, and they're very rushed, like this adaptation has always been, but their strengths at least alleviate their weaknesses. And maybe this is kind of mean to say, but like at this point, alleviating their weaknesses is as good as we're gonna get. So next week, we've got a giant Kaneki monster to deal with, and I can't wait to see what the anime does next. I actually really enjoyed these episodes, and I hope y'all did too. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, or subscribe, or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!